Good afternoon. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time and the trouble to be part of this lesson. My name is Hendrik Makaneta, and I'm going to teach you grade 7 mathematics as always. I hope that you will be ready. I know that most of you expected the class to be at 11, but it has since been moved to 12. Now, what is important is that at the end of the lesson, but also during the lesson, feel free to raise your hand at any time just to ask a question if you have. We have entered the revision phase for grade 7, and without any doubt, we are going to zoom directly into the flow diagrams where we will need to calculate the missing sides. Just to remind you once again, it is very important that whenever you have a flow diagram, what is important is to check your input values as well as the rule, and those two will be able to give you the output value. So in this case, we have the input value there. As you can see, if you multiply -5 by +2 there, that gives you -10. And if you subtract 5 there, you will get a -15 all in all. So that is the first one that I've done for you. I want you to use, so in this case, if we have to carry on, we'll have to multiply a -2 by 2 to get a -4, and -4 minus 5 will obviously give us -9. So that is how we carry on in as far as the revision exercise is concerned. Please feel free, like I said, at any time, just to ensure that you use the rule to find the output values. Can we start with the first one? Right, let us start with the first one here, 0. The input value there is 0, and then we need to find the output. So let's use the rule to find the output value. Let's use the rule to find the output values. What will be the output value if the input is 0? If the input value is 0, what will be the output? So let's quickly go to the participants. I see that we have got quite a number of participants who are joining. Devang is joining us. We already have about 16 participants. Can we carry on now just to find the output? So without any hand, let me zoom directly into the structure here. If you have 0 as the input, obviously you need to multiply that by 2. Probably you should know by now that if you multiply 0 by any number, you will get 0. Or if you multiply any number by 0, again you get 0. So if you multiply 0 by 2, we get 0 here. So 0 times 2 is 0. And 0 minus 5 will give us -5. So meaning that the answer there will be -5. And then we come to 2. What will be the value if the input is 2? What will be the output value if the input value is 2? So let us find the output value there. If the input is 2, once more, you will use the rule, and the rule says two. All right, I saw there was a hand, but it's fine. We'll come back to you. All right, Yolanda, I see Yolanda's hand is up. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. Minus 5 is going to be -1.
Exactly. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. Minus 5 is going to be -1. So thank you very much indeed, Yolanda, sorry. And of course, Yolanda gave us the correct answer there. Let us go now to the last one. We have the last one here, which is 5. The input is 5, and you also have the rule. So please use the rule to find the output value. So you will use the rule as well as the input values to find the output values. Right, Siamo, please go ahead. Siamo, you can go ahead. All right, in the absence of Siamo, let's go now to, all right, Siamo, was your hand up? Can we go back to Yolanda? Yolanda Gele?
Yes, sir. 5 times 2 is 10 and minus 5 is 5.
Exactly. So 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 minus 5 will give us 5. So meaning that your output in this case will be 5. So 5 times 2 gives you 10. So always remember, if there's a learner maybe who does not understand how did we get 5 as the output value there, we have used 5 as the input value, and then we have also used the rule. And the rule says you multiply 5 by 2 to get 10. And then you subtract 5 to get 5. So 10 minus 5 will definitely give you 5. So yes, we have used the rule. We have also used the input values. Now, I want us to look at the following table, and I want us to observe carefully the table. It will have the set of different values there, and I want you to find the missing values. So the first table is here, and see there are input values in the left. Just focus on them. I hope you have a pen and paper and use the rule to find the output values. For every input value, find the correct output. Just start with the first one. This flow diagram where the first input there is -3. Let us use that effectively to find the output values. Let us use that effectively to find the output values. Let us find the output values. I see there are several hands. So those who are already finished, let's see. Siamo, again, let's come back to you. You may proceed, Siamo. Have you worked it out at Siamo? Siamo's hand is up, but I see that it's quiet. All right, let's go now to Bonolo. Let us go to Bonolo. Bonolo, please proceed. Right. We will just carry on. So the first one, you can see it has been done in two folds. The first one is just the flow diagram, which is then followed by a table. So remember that you can use one of the two, either a flow diagram, alternatively, you can use a table. And in our case, we are going to use both. I'm talking about the first example. We will use both in order, excuse me, in order to find the output values. So the first value there of k is -3, as you can see. Now, if you square -3, it means you take your 3, which is negative, you take your -3 and put it inside a bracket, and you put a square there, or the exponent 2. Now, once you have put the exponent 2, this means you are multiplying -3 by -3, because that's -3 squared. And of course, negative times negative is positive. 3 times 3 is 9. So in the first category there, you'll have 9 for k squared. But remember the -2. So you'll definitely have 9 minus 2, which is 7. So the corresponding answer to -3 will be 7. So meaning that if the input value is -3, then the output value is 7. Because that is 9 squared. I mean, that is 3 squared, which is 9. 9 minus 2 is 7. So 7 is definitely the output value. And then if k is -2, again, you put -2 into bracket, and then you square it. -2 squared is 4, and 4 minus 2 is 2. Now the next one is -1, and then of course if you square -1, you'll get +1, because negative times negative is positive, and then -1 squared therefore will give you 1, and then 1 minus 2 is -1. And then you do the same with 0. 0 squared is 0, minus 2 is -2. So 0 minus 2 is the same as -2, because 0 means nothing. Right, and then 1 squared, that will be 1. 1 minus 2 is -1. And then 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So the last one is k into k squared. So it will be k squared minus 2. So in this expression there, you'll have k squared minus 2, which will be your answer. Now we can be able to proceed to the next one, where the expression, or the flow diagram. The flow diagram is very clear. You have got the input value. You also have the rule. Can we find the output values using this diagram, the second one? Let's use the second diagram here to find the different output values. Either you can use the table, alternatively you can use the flow diagram. It doesn't matter, as long as you can find the output values. Find the corresponding output values. Find the corresponding output values. let us find the corresponding output value. So definitely in this case, you will have a -5 times 3, which is -15, and -15 minus 12. So it means you are adding 15 and 12 there. -15 plus 12. And of course, that will be -27. -27 will be the answer there. And if you come to 9, again, 9 times 3 is 27. And then, of course, you have to now subtract 12 from 27. 9 times 3 is 27. And of course, you subtract 12. 12 from 27, and then you get 15. Right, and then the next one is -2. If you multiply -2 by 3, you get -6, and minus 12 will give you -18. Then we're done with the second one. Can we revise the fourth one, people? Now you need to remember, how do we find the rule? I've taught you before in this subject how to find the rule. If anyone can find the rule using this given information here, determine the rule for the following flow diagram. Determine a rule for the following flow diagram. We are given the inputs as well as the outputs. So can we see, just by show of hands, how many people can be able to find the rule for us? Rita, your hand is up. Let's carry on, Rita.
The rule is 4.
Okay, so you say the rule is 4.
Yes.
What happens to 4? How are you going to put it in the rule?
Because the first one it minus 5, so 2 times 5 equals to 10, then minus
or minus 4 multiplied by 4.
Sir, I can't hear you.
I'm
Sir?
Can you still see the screen?
Yes. No.
So you can't see the screen?
Yes, I can't see the screen.
Can you see the screen?
No.
Oh, you can't see it. Let me share it again.
No.
All right, let's see.
Sir, there's no screen.
All right, no problem. I'll share it now.
Now I can see the screen.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Sir, I can continue.
Yes, please continue.
Okay, the rule is 4.
All right.
Yes. Because
That.
when you wake it up in the first the first input, it says 2, you work it out as 2 times 5 equals to 10, then minus 4 equals to 6.
Okay.
Yes, so the rule is 4.
The rule is 4.
Yes.
Okay, do you remember what I said about the output values? Some time back, I said to you, you start by looking whether or checking whether there's a constant difference in the output value. Can you remember that? So now,
Yes.
in this case, what you do, you come to the output values. You can see you've got 6, followed by 4, followed by 2, followed by 0, and -2. So those are that is the sequence. And in this sequence, what you can do, you can just find the constant difference. Okay. You can
Yes.
just find the constant difference. And how do you find the constant difference? It will be as follows. You will have 6 minus 4, there is 2. And then, of course, again, 4 minus 2 is 2, 2 minus 2 is 2, and then 0 minus 2 is also 2 there. All right. Simply put, if you want, you can use the next term to find the difference. You can say -2 minus 0, that will give you -2, and so on and so forth. So 0 minus 2 is -2, 2 minus 4 is -2. So it's up to you how you want to start with that. If your constant there, if your constant difference is -2, then you are going to multiply -2 by 5 to get -10. It will be -2 times 5, which is -10. And what do you do to get to 6 if you have -10? What do you do? If you have -10 and then you need to move to 6, how are you going to get +6? Who can tell us? What do you need to add? In other words, how much are you adding to -10 in order to get 6?
So I can make it out.
Yes? How much?
You should times 2 times 5 equals to 10. So 10 minus 4 equals to 6.
Exactly, you can use that. If you have 2 as the common factor there, you can say 2 times 5 is 10, and then 10 minus 4 gives you 6. Yes, I fully agree. And the second one there, where the input is 4, how are you going to resolve that? Again, you say 2 multiplied by 4, and then to get to 4, 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 minus 4 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6, 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 minus 4 is 0. You can see the corresponding values. 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 minus 4 is -2. So that is how we are going to find the rule, which will be times the input and then -4. So meaning that y is equal to 2x minus 4. That will be the general rule. That will be the general rule. And then you do the same with the next one. Without any waste of time, you do the same, where you must find the input there, where you must use the input to find the rule. Again, if you can check this, the constant difference there will be 3, as you can see there. And then if you multiply 3 by -5, you get -15. And then if you add 3, you get -12. So meaning that you'll multiply the input value by 3, and then you plus 3. Multiply by 3, then you add 3. We can test it for -4. If you multiply -4 by 3, you get -12. If you plus 3 there, you'll get -9. Same goes for -3. If you multiply that by 3, you get -9, and plus 3 will give you -6. So it should be clear at this point that we need to be able to find the rule. So the rule in B will be times 3 plus 3. So you multiply the input value by 3, then you add 3. Right, so that brings us to the end of the first slide there, and then we proceed. You remember plotting the functions? I want us to plot this graph. Maybe what you can do, if you have a pen and paper there, just plot your graph and then tell me where does your graph cut the y-axis and where does your graph cut the x-axis. Remember the y and the x-axis? Yes, those two lines that cut each other in a perpendicular way where they form 90 degrees. Those are the two lines. The first one is the y-axis and the other the x-axis. Can we work it out and plot the graph? Can we work this out and then plot the graph? Of course we can, but I just want someone to tell me where does your graph cut the y-axis. Right, it should be clear at this point that what we need to do is to firstly draw the Cartesian plane. You can see that this is what we have. This is the drawing of the x and y axis. And then you can have a small table there for x values and y values. That's a small table. And once you have this, if you have used your table correctly, you should be able to plot a function of this nature, a graph that cuts the y-axis at 2, because at 2, the value of x is 0. Remember that. When y is 2, then x is 0. And then again, you can use the same principle in the category of the x-axis. Where does your graph cut the x-axis? Meaning that y is 0 at that point. So if y is 0, then you'll have 3x is equal to 2. 3x will be equal to -2, and then you divide by 3. So x is 2 over 3, and that is negative. And that is why your graph cuts the x-axis in the negative side. Right, check the following graph carefully and write down the formula for the graph. So you are going to check this graph and then tell us what is the formula to calculate this graph. And perhaps you can tell us why do you think that is the formula, just by inspection. What is the formula of the graph, just by inspection? Just by inspection, what is the formula? Right, I'm just going to work it out for you in the absence of a hand. You can see that when x is 0,5, even y is 0,5. When x is 1, even y is 1. When x is -1, even y is -1. So it means the values of x and y are equal. That's what it means. So it means that your graph will be y is equal to x, because the x value and the y value are equal. Right, and then the point that we're making here is that it is clear from the graph that for every x value, there is an equal value of y. Therefore, y is equal to x, and this will be the formula to plot the graph that we just witnessed. That's the graph of y is equal to x. And the last graph that I want us to plot is the following. Always remember, you don't have to use the table method. You can use any other method, which is quick. But if you want to use the table method as well, it's up to you how you select the x values. So it's really up to you. But I prefer that you use the formula to find values of y is equal to negative 3x plus 4. If x is 0, for instance, y will be 3 times 0 plus 4, which is 4. Remember, 0 times 3 is 0. Then if we want to calculate the x value there, we are going to equate 0 to the formula there. 0 is y. The y value there will be 0, and then negative 3x plus 4. So you solve for x, which will be 4 over 3. So now that you have these points, you can simply plot your nice graph there. And of course, this is how your graph will look like. That's how the graph will look like, the graph of negative 3x. So negative 3x plus 4. So we are proceeding now with the last but not least flow diagram. I just want you to give me the inputs. I'm going to identify a few hands. The first one is Devang, followed by Joanna. Let's go to Devang.
Sir, the answer is 25.
The answer is 25.
Yes, sir.
You get 25? Devang, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
How did you find 25?
Sir, because 10 times 4 is 40 minus 15 is 25.
Exactly. So 4 times 4, 10 times 4 is 40. 40 minus 15 is 25. Right. And then the second one, the x is 20. Joanna?
So the answer is going to be 65 because 20 times 4 equals to 80, and then 80 minus 15 equals to 65.
All right, so the answer you left 20 times 4, which is 80. Yes, I agree. Then 80 minus 15 gives you
65.
65. Yes, that's correct. We've done that. 10 and 2. Can we go to 30? Can we go to 30? All right, you multiply 30 by 4 once again, which will give you 120, and 120 minus 15. So it's 105. The last one is 50. Let's use 50 in the equation. So you'll have 50 times 4, which is 200. 200 minus 15, that will be 285. So excuse me, 50 times 4, as I've said, is 200. 200 minus 15, that will be 185. So that will be 185. And we have the following.
So you skipped the one with 4.
The one with 4, this one. Which one
40.
did I skip?
40.
Or did you skip the 41?
Yes.
Or at 40 times 4, what is 40 times 4?
160.
Okay, that's 160. And then what do you do with the 160?
You say 160 minus 15 equals to 145.
All right, so 40 times 4 is 160. And then 160 minus 15 will give you 145. 145, that's what it means. That will be your output value. So we are probably going to finalize the flow diagram at this point. I wanted us to look at other revision exercises. We will do so as we carry on throughout the week. Let's go to the first diagram. You have 1 there times 2 gives you 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6, and so on. But thereafter, you use the second flow diagram to find the final answer. So let's see the first one. 1 times 2 is 2. Then 2 plus 1 gives you 3. Can you see how did we find it? Yes. So it will be 1 times 2, which is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Now let's currently look at the second one. There is 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And then 3 times 2 is 6, and then 6 plus 1 is 7. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. That's the middle term there. And then 5 times 2 is also 10, and then 10 plus 1 is 11. 7 times 2 is 14, and of course 14 plus 1 gives you 15. So can you see how we have done this? And then at some point we had to look at the different ways to describe relationships. But I've actually prepared a lot of notes for you for today just to revise. But in the meantime, let's go to this diagram here. How many blue dots are there if there are 4 red dots? Right. How many blue dots are there in the 4 if the 4 red dots, or for every 4? How many blue dots are there if there are 4 red dots? So the first one is how many blue dots are there if there is only 1 dot. So all that you need to do is to count how many. So you can count 2, 4, 6. So there are 6 blue dots. Now we've answered the first one. The second one, how many blue dots are there if there are 2 red dots? How many? Can you see that? Yes, I see the hands. Yes, please go ahead, Yolanda.
So there are 18 dots. Oh yeah, 18, yeah.
Which one are you answering? The second one? Or the third? Yolanda? How many blue dots are there when there are 2 red rods? Meaning here, how many blue dots are there? Can you count them? I see 9.
Sorry, sir, I made a mistake.
Yes, there are 9.
Yes.
9 dots. So how many blue dots are there? If there are 3 red dots, how many blue dots are there? If you have 3, how many blue dots are there? If there are 3 red dots. Once again, you have an option of calculating. I see our hand. Let's go to Rita. Let's go to Rita.
There are 14 dots.
14. Sorry, that you said how many dots are there if there are three red? So if there are three, you can just count how many blue. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes, there are 14. So all that you need to do really is to just count how many there are. There are 14. Now, how many blue dots are there if there are 4 red dots? Again, we have 4 here. You can simply count the blue ones and tell me the answer. You can simply calculate or count the blue ones. If you have seen the sequence by now, you can use it. The sequence for blue dots.
So are we at the fourth one?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I found the rule. The rule is times 4 and then plus 2. So 4 times 4 is going to be 16, and then 16 plus 2 is going to be 18. So the answer for the 4 red dots is going to be 18.
So how many blue dots are there?
18.
Right. So did you use the rule now to find the red dots?
Yes.
I mean the blue ones, sorry.
Yes, sir.
So you found 18.
Yes.
All right, let's count them. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 10 on the other side and 10 at the bottom is 20. And on the side, I've got 2. So I've got 22 blue dots if I count.
So
it
we
should
are at
be,
the fourth one.
all right, on the fourth one, let's see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now you have 8 plus 8 is 16. 7, yes, it's 18. You have 18 in the fourth one. Thank you very much. That's correct. You definitely have 18. I'm sorry about that. I was already in the fifth one. Sorry. Let's go to the number 5 now. How many blue dots are there? I've just worked it out for you now. You can see that that will be 22. Now, at this point, you should know that once you have developed a formula using the blue dots, you can check the constant difference and then you can determine the rule. And once you have the rule in place, you can be able to find how many dots there are in 20 red dots, sorry. How many blue dots are there if there are 20 red dots? Now you need to use the formula. All right. And what is the constant difference in the blue ones? If you can tell me.
It's 4, sir.
It's 4.
Yes.
Yes, because the first one you had 6, 2, 4, 6, and then you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 minus 6 is 4. Yes, I agree with you. The constant difference is 6. 10 minus 4 is 6. And then you are going to take the 6, you multiply that by the input. 6 times 1 is 6. And to get to 2, you'll have 6 minus 4. All right. So it means you are going to multiply your input by by 6, which is the constant difference. Y will be equal to 6x minus 2. All right. So I hope that it makes sense. Right. I would have wanted us to carry on just to revise this table, but time is not on our side. our lesson is going to end just now. And then, of course, we will just carry on. So look at this table. I wanted you to answer the questions that follow there, and then calculate the length and so on. But for now, I think what we can do, we can leave you with this homework where you have the rule and you just need to find the y values as well as the missing x value. There's one x value that's missing, and then you can use that as a revision as well as we carry on to revise this work of term 2. Let me take this opportunity to thank you, and including all of you who have participated in this lesson. I do hope that we will be able to carry on with mathematics, which will make things easier, especially during this challenging period. Once again, we are also found on the different social media pages. You can reach us out on the at Twitter at Africa Teen Geeks. That is our Twitter account, and then Facebook as well, Africa Teen Geeks. You're welcome to reach me out on my number 082 623 2148. And we can further talk about mathematics. This lesson was brought to you by the Lockdown eSchool in partnership with Sasol Foundation. And of course, we also have the links for the DBE at DBE_SA and at MS Zora. So those are some of the links that you can send your messages to, or just to tag. Until we meet again tomorrow, thank you very, very much indeed.
Bye.